Welcome to Los Compas Lounge, a PSA for brown men.
We are your host. This is Raul.
This is Javier.
My name is Reuven, and this is a podcast about brown men talking about issues that matter to you. We talk about things that we don't usually talk about in the brown communities. We're just three regular compas sharing our experiences to inspire positive change. Compa, pull up a seat. We have one ready for you. Wow, you know what? It's been a whole year. Our first year as Los Compas Lounge has been something. Let me tell you, it's something that none of us ever expected would happen. All kinds of weird stuff happened. A lot of derailments, and I guess, this is what 2020 is, but 2020 isn't what it is. 2020 is what we make it to be, and in this episode, we'll be having flashbacks of this year, 2020, the good, the bad, the ugly, the raw, and the yet to be. And you know what, compas, it's been a wild ride, man. I mean, it started off, pretty tame, and then next thing you know, we have some civil unrest going on throughout the country. Black Lives Matter, and then COVID-19 hits, and then all kinds of other stuff has been happening. And it's been pretty wild.
Man, I feel like we got jacked, man. I remember since like the 1900s, we used to talk, oh man, in the year 2020, we're going to get jetpacks. Actually, they told us that about it, the year 2000. I was thinking in the year 2000, flying cars, and nothing happened. Okay, maybe 2020. It's like you said, Ruben, it started off well, I mean, it started off normal. What normal? It wasn't normal at all.
2020 was has a nice ring to it, January 1st, 2020, right? It's like, cool, 20 years passed into this new decade of the 2000s. And then bam, right? You go through this whole craziness of the impeachment process with the president, and then that doesn't go anywhere. And like you said, Ruben, the Black Lives Matter movement is crazy. And then COVID-19, and then that's the part that at least for me, where I was like, fuck, I don't want to say zombie apocalypse, but if there were a zombie apocalypse type of situation, I think a lot of us would be screwed, especially the anti-maskers. But, it is what it is, not to get too political, but 2020 has been a roller coaster, and look at us now. We're towards the end of 2020, and trying to look back and try to make a little bit sense out of it, and what it meant to us, and hopefully what we are looking forward to for 2021.
I don't think it was a roller coaster. I actually think it was like one of those like water slides that you're going down, but a bunch of
down all
bumps
the time.
all over, man. The bumps, right when you think it's getting a little better, boom, there's like bigger bumps, and there's just no way to enjoy this thing.
Yeah.
Worse, boom, something else falls on you. Something else.
Yeah. It's just like like we've been mentioning, all these global and national events, but for me, the main thing that sticks out to me, it's just been a very hard and painful year. I actually, in my household, we call it the year of sage, and the reason I say that is because there's been so many people that we've lost in my circles, and whenever someone passes away, we burn sage for them, or when we find out that friends or family members are ill, or near the end, we burn sage, for their families, and one, I had a real close friend, of ours pass away, and then, just a month later, another person passes away, and then a good friend of all of ours, his father passed away. Just a couple months ago. And some of them are COVID related. Others are just death happens. Our elders are passing are passing away now, man, and that's been a big theme for me personally. It's just, dude. I mean, right when you think it's sort of getting okay, bam, 2020 goes and hits us with with another loved one gone down, and it's been very painful for us, in the Ramirez household.
Yeah, it reminds me, like, I mean, like I said, when I said roller coaster, and then the way you said, kind of, it made me think about when we all went whitewater rafting, a few years back.
Yeah.
And then you go, it's fun, you get the adrenaline going, but then there's some points there, there's some rapids that are just like, you think they're over and they're not. You're like, shit. What was it? Satan's Seth Pool was one of them,
Oh
right at the
yeah,
American
Yeah.
River. And
yeah.
and I thought about that. I was like, this is 2020, Satan's Seth's Pool.
Oh yeah, this is what it feels like, man.
And I'm not trying to be dark or satanic by any means at all, but Ruben, it's true, right? In my friends outside of the Compas Lounge, and relatives and friends of my wife and our extended family, you hear about stuff, people passing away, and you hear the sad stories where people go to the funeral homes, early on during the pandemic, and then elderly folks get infected as well, and then they die. You hear that stuff, and it kind of sucks because I hear my in-laws talking about it, that they knew the lady or they knew somebody, fulana de tal, and they're like, rest in peace. And you're like, man, you can't even go see your dying mom or dad in the
I
hospital.
mean, that is the saddest thing, I think,
Exactly, because
that
it's
they die alone.
restricted. You die
It's
alone,
like,
and not to again, not to necessarily look at it as a tragedy or a dark episode or something we want to talk about it, but the
yeah,
reality is 2020 has been um,
challenging.
super challenging. It's been pretty bad, but despite that, I mean, what we want to share is what have we learned, or what are some of the
Yeah,
lessons we learned, and how are we coping with 2020?
yeah, and also, what positive has come out. I mean,
Exactly.
there's a lot of negative, but I mean, I know there's a lot of positive that has happened also. Yeah, and for one, I mean, it's like, I mean, for a lot of times, like the family, you were forced to just, play
Yeah,
games and things, that a lot of times you probably didn't, and I mean,
that's a good point. Thinking about it, for me, uh, it allowed me to, one of the most memorable times I've had in 2020 is just being a kid again with my son and my daughter. We go through a ritual of, obviously he's going through Zoom school and all that, and the baby, and we're working with her. But between 8:30 and 1:30, I really don't have a life because I'm checking up on them, and it's fun. After that, we're playing around, and we're it, if like you said, Javi, you make the best out of it, right? Because they're here
Mhm.
with me, and it is challenging as a father, but at the same time, if you look at the positive side, you're with them, you're playing, you're having fun. We play hide and go seek in the evenings, like 6, 7:30 around there. Do a few rounds and turn off the lights, and it's fun, and that's been a
Hey,
routine for a while.
does he have a mitt? Have you started showing him how to play catch, like baseball catch?
No, football, a little Nerf
Oh,
football.
football. Oh
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
so in
that's
the
good.
summertime we'll be on the backyard and tossing the
Yeah.
football. Um, but my kids, they're the biggest joy right now. Well, it's been cold, right? This is we're in the winter, so the biggest joy is a mud, being in the mud, getting dirty. In the summer, it was in the little pool that we had.
Yeah.
The and then finally towards the end of summer, I built a little mud pit for them. So we put dirt and then they
Nice.
just put water. And he has his construction toys. Anyways, these kids are from head to toe just in the mud. So I take pictures of them and we have fun. And it was hard because early on in the summer, um, they would get into the backyard and just the landscaping. We have a pretty nice
Yeah.
landscaping here, and they would tear it up, right? And for me, I was like, kids are kids, right? My wife was like, oh my god, and she's totally cool, but she'd be like, oh my goodness, they're like totally tearing it up. So it's like, shit. Well, okay, well, we're gonna make a mud pit. So now they have
Mhm.
their own space and they could tear that up now, and it's totally cool. So,
Awesome.
anyways, for me, like you said, it almost seems like you get forced. Sounds kind of negative, but let's just say an
Yeah.
opportunity, right?
Yeah.
COVID-19 and staying home with the kids being home at schooled and all that. It created an opportunity for me to be more happy and nurturing and be. I think the best way I could say is allows me to be a kid with them and just be joyful and and still allows me to do my work, but be with the kids and laugh. I've been laughing a lot this whole time now with the kids, so it's been good on that in that regards for me.
Yeah, and that's that reminds me of one of our episodes. I think it was about the pandemic, and basically the pandemic forced us to reevaluate where we're at, and reevaluate what our priorities are. And that for me that was a positive. Like I said, I mean it forced me to come to terms with things that I thought I was doing, but I realized I wasn't. So so being able to spend time like similar with you, Raul, with my family, get back into better health, because I actually had time to do that, and just enjoy the little things, and finish up projects. I mean,
Yeah.
I think you guys have seen the photos of,
Your backyard,
the
right? Looks really
backyard
nice.
and
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
front yard. We
Yeah.
we finally started, worked on and finished these projects of, working on the front yard and the backyard,
Mm-hmm.
and the reason we wanted to do that was so that our grandson can actually just enjoy the backyard, because we weren't able to take him anywhere because of of the shutdowns. So we were able to spend more time with our grandson, and that was a blessing in disguise, and not to say that it's all roses and chocolate and everything, because we all know, it's you know it takes a lot of patience to raise a 3-year-old, but that's a positive, and getting back in health, like back into shape, like I said, and working on allowing being able to have time to make my side projects my main focus, for a good half of the year,
Mm-hmm.
and that was a really positive thing,
Right.
and
It's like kind of like this podcast. It came out of passion for us, right?
yeah,
Yeah, and
yeah,
you know what? And that's another. This is a perfect example because we have been talking about doing something together, like months, if not years, prior to this.
Sure.
And then we finally. I mean,
Here we are.
the technology was always there, but we were too lazy, or I don't know what it was that to put it all together.
we just had too many excuses, and
Yeah.
one of the main excuses was no tenemos tiempo. Well, you know what? Now we have time, so let's go ahead and do it. And you know what? And we can all attest to this. Yeah, it was hard work, but it was fun work.
Yeah.
And it still is. And that's another good thing that came out of 2020. And yeah, I'm not gonna lie and say, you know 2020 was the best year. It obviously wasn't, and not to take lightly of the other people out there who don't
have these opportunities. Or,
Yeah, and a
Exactly.
lot of people
or
lost a lot of jobs. You know, they're all
yeah,
the every like the restaurant people. I mean, it's like
yeah, you hear
it
about that
it
stuff.
hurts.
Yeah.
It's sad. You know.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I think another positive thing, well, at least for me, these elections proved that we do have some kind of semblance of a democracy, and we're gonna have a new president next year. And for me, that's a positive thing because we have a certain orange man that's not going to be in the White House
Yeah,
anymore.
and that's good. It's been so. This whole year actually has been on the election side. Not to get too deeply political, but um, everywhere you go on social media or on the news, it's just like so much disunity, right? So like
Yeah.
we're in
That
so
whole cancel
exactly,
culture. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. We're such a. It's kind of depressing a little bit, but like you said, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. President-elect Biden. In January, he's just around the corner, right?
Mhm.
Literally, January 21st. So that's a positive, and this
and
orange
and
guy.
it was good to see um, a huge turnout of the Chicano Latino community throughout the country.
Sure.
No, doesn't matter who you voted for, just the fact
The
that
passion
our
was there.
communities actually stood up and went out and voted, like
Hmm.
they never have in the past, and I think that's a very big positive thing,
Yeah.
especially, for us as Los Compas, who, want to talk about issues of within our community, so I was really stoked about that, and,
Well, hopefully that momentum will carry through
yeah,
2024, whichever way it goes. At this point, it's just I think enough people on both sides saw the need to go out and vote.
yeah,
Good or
yeah,
bad.
Yeah, you know
Whatever it
what?
is.
I really hope that the country heals. I
I'm
mean,
ready
there's
for
it's
that,
so
man.
divisive right now. I mean, it's like and I really think that Biden would. There's no way there was no healing with Trump. I
yeah.
mean, and so I really hope that the healing comes, and I really hope that we get back to harmony because you can't shut down somebody just because they disagree with you. This whole cancel culture and
Hmm.
everything. I mean, it's just get back to harmony.
Cancel
And
culture.
and, and
Yeah.
on a similar note, about health and getting better, it looks like we have a couple of vaccines on the way that look promising,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
hopefully this COVID-19 will be able to, you know, take care of this also sometime, sometime mid next year, and I'm really hopeful about that, and you know what, Compas, maybe we needed this reset. Maybe that's what 2020 was about.
A
Is
reset.
was
It's a good
it
word.
was a reset, to just slap us in the face and say, you know what, get your priorities straight.
Yeah.
You know
How
what,
many people were not prepared?
yeah, and I'm thinking just like it all in general. It's like, yeah, we had this orange guy who was just jacking things up for everyone. Maybe we needed that type of person to
Hmm.
remind us, hey, this is not who we are. This is not what
Democracy's
what we're
fragile.
supposed to be.
Yeah.
It's only a
And
generation away.
Yeah.
yeah, and the same thing with BLM. Maybe this was needed to help unite people, and remind people, hey, you know what? We
Yeah,
if we're all
it sucks
Americans, let's
that so
treat
many
ourselves that
people.
way.
It sucks that like there's all these other
Pain and death.
violent groups that have been trying to jackass hijack
Hijack.
the
Hmm.
the original movement of
Yeah.
bringing awareness to abuse of
Police abuse. Yeah.
yeah, police abuse, but I mean, what like with those anonymous zones, like what happened in Seattle and what's happening right
Hmm.
now in Oregon, that they're just taking over land and just say, oh, this is us. And, those, I don't think that brings harmony. That's not, that's not something positive. I don't agree with that.
I mean, and you're right, compa. It's not, but I think the intent is to bring awareness, and then violence occurs, and then there's people who take advantage. Those are the ones
Yeah,
who
that's what
drive
I'm
the violence,
saying.
and that's the part that I agree with you. It's kind of sucks,
Yeah.
but I do want to make a quick point that 2020 is a reset. We I don't know if you ever saw that show or back in the day. I don't say back in the day, maybe last 10 years. Preppers or whatever you want to call it.
Oh
Preppers, like
yeah,
prepping, right?
yeah.
Like or Bear Gyles or survival and all
Well,
that
yeah,
stuff.
that was about 10 years ago
Yeah,
or something.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Anyways, some of that stuff is very valid. Like prepping, right? Because what if this were a zombie apocalypse, right? Shit. We would be totally screwed, right?
Hmm.
So this is an opportunity for Compas to really take stock of who you are and where you're at and your family. And I'm not saying necessarily go out there and get all crazy, rambled out prepper kind of guy. If that's who you are and what you want to do, then go for it. But what I'm simply saying is, like trucha, open your eyes a little bit, put some more money away on a emergency fund if you're out of a job, right? If something like this happens again, have at least 6 months to a year's worth of money so you don't lose your house or so you can have food on the table.
Yeah, I mean that's easily said or
Totally,
easier said than done. I
exactly.
mean,
But I want to make the point that
a
this is
lot
an
of people live paycheck to paycheck.
paycheck.
Yeah,
Don't get me wrong, you're absolutely
yeah.
right. I'm not saying it
Hmm.
like I'm not trying to be elitist at
No,
all, compa, but I'm simply saying that.
and I don't mean to
No,
come
no, I
off
get
like
it. I get it. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, I get it. It's not your fault. If you lost your job, it's not your fault. That's what I'm saying. But that goes to show all of us, right, that we're all inexpensible and we're all vulnerable to this stuff.
how
How
fragile
fragile
society
we are.
is. I mean,
Exactly, and that's what I'm saying, though. So whatever you can control, at least put it up front and center in your mind to think about it, and even if it's saving a couple of dollars here and
yeah,
there or getting
and
an
also
extra, just thinking ahead, like what are you gonna
mm,
do, man? How are you going to survive the zombie apocalypse should it ever come?
yeah, but you know what? I mean, us being right here in California,
Yeah,
an earthquake could hit us anytime.
yeah, exactly.
And so we always have to be prepared. And also that's another thing that, as a family, like with my kids, like we've practiced those fire drills or earthquake
Sure.
drills, you know,
Escape
and
routes and stuff like
yeah,
that.
yeah, plan all of that. I mean, now that
Which
they're
is good.
getting older, we need to reassess it and stuff because there was a. I would tell my two sons to be under one door ledge. Now they won't fit.
They're all big, huh?
They won't
That's
fit under
true.
the same one. Yeah.
And I think that's what I wanted us. That's the point I want to make. Where reassess, right?
Yeah.
Reassess and count your blessings. Look at what you have, and what else can you do to help prepare yourself should this happen again. You know.
And I think that's where the 2020 can be a huge lesson or lessons for everyone. Who were you before 2020? When 2020 hit, what were you in a good? Were you able to withstand 2020? Were you able to thrive in 2020, even though we were going downhill? And if you were going downhill, how did you deal with it? If you needed help, whether it was financial, emotional, or whatever it is, did you have compas there for you? Did you have family there for you? Were you there for other people who might have needed you? You know, um, and like I said, it's a reset. It's like, okay, all this stuff happened. Was I prepared? Yes or no? Be honest with yourself. And what can you do better for 2021? Whether it's like you were saying, Raul, it's like, did I have a nest, a nest fund, right
Emergency
there,
fund.
an emergency fund, little nest egg right there, to make sure you can get through those rainy days. If not, what do you need to do? Skills wise, if you lost your job or or you were cut down in hours, did you have any other skills that you can use, to get you through, whether it was starting a side gig or whatever it may be, family wise, did you get to know who your kids were now that you had to spend time with them?
Now that you're forced.
I know, right?
Now that
Now
you're
that
forced
you're,
to,
yeah,
now
you're
that you're
playing
forced to
teacher.
be a parent.
You're forced to be a teacher too.
Yeah.
Hey, so I have more respect for your wife, man. That she's a teacher. She's a high school teacher, no, Ruben?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but for elementary, man, my son is. I love my son to death, but the teachers have a magic gift for facilitating and working with kids. My son, I see them. I'm there sneaking up on him or looking behind it. And they're doing great. But as soon as Zoom is over and he has independent learning, guess what? I'm the teacher and I'm fighting with him. He's like, math is so boring.
Just give him detention. Give him detention.
Yeah, I want to give him a nalgazo.
Go back to the old school.
The chancla or,
okay,
or the whip.
I know,
Yeah.
totally right. But you know what? I
That's
tried
a
the
little flashback.
exactly right. I tried the strong arm method early on, and it did.
That
Guys,
didn't work.
that shit doesn't work, man. He ends up crying, and it sucks for both of us.
And then he tells his mom.
I know. Then I'm in trouble. And, hey, who?
And then she does that to you.
Hey, but I like it, eh? Andale. Oh man, but yeah, I ended up sleeping on the couch. Eh? But you know what? I was gonna say that
You end up sleeping with the dog. You didn't
with
even
the
have a
dog,
dog.
I don't even have a dog. It's a neighbor's dog. But what I was gonna say is like one thing I also in this thing about parenting, I learned that it works, right? You sit down, you talk to them, you rationalize the stuff, and you say, I'm the parent, and this is what we're gonna do, and you validate their feelings. I understand you think it's boring and you hate it, but this is what we need to do. And you hug and you give affection, and then you talk to them, and he's like figuring stuff out. I'm like, and he's waiting for me to be pissed at him, and I'm like, I'm not pissed at you. I'm like, but we need to do it. And he's like, okay, and give me a hug, and then it pisses me off because then he goes through the material, boom, 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 like nothing. I'm like, oh my god, and all this drama for what?
Can you
I'm
believe
like-
it, dude? All the kids want is attention.
I know.
But they want. They just. It's not attention.
Validation.
But it's more. They just want to spend time with mom and dad.
Secure.
That's what it is. That's all it is. It's just like, just reinforce that you love me, mom. Reinforce that you love me, dad. Can I hug you? Can you hug me? That's what they want, dude.
And that's what I'm learning. It's beautiful. I
Yeah.
think that's the part that I touched upon earlier about spending time with my son and of course with my daughter. But forcing myself to put the brakes and go, I want to choke them out, or I want to be upset, or I want to be like, okay, we're turning this off and we're taking these privileges away from you. I want to do that tactic, and I know it doesn't work. 6 years old,
Yeah.
So you just got to be like, okay, I understand what you're saying. You kind of help him process his emotions and his feelings about why he thinks he, or process his feelings towards not liking math, right? So once we start making it fun and you get, you start drawing your little circles, or you start getting your beans or your pennies to count, and he's doing the math and the subtraction like no problems because he can visualize it and it's cool. But anyways, that part as a parent, 2020, is a big plus for me. I've grown in that regard.
Isn't it wild that a pandemic, a little tiny little virus, has brought you closer,
Big
to your
impact.
kids,
Yeah.
and has opened up your avenues, in other aspects of your life, that you never even thought, were even there. Whether it's like this podcast that we have right now, or whether it's different business ventures that we have, that they've grown because of the pandemic in a certain manner, or that we've learned, whether it's learning more about our immediate family members, or learning new skill sets, or learning about ourselves, and this damn little virus forced us to give us this opportunity, to do this. So I mean, yeah, 2020 was a cesspool, of bad things, but at the same time, out of shit, beautiful roses can grow from that. And
Fertilizer, right?
yeah, fertilizer, and
Manure.
a little cow dung,
Yeah.
can create something beautiful, man. And that's maybe what 2020 has been about, man. This is like
Smells like shit, looks like shit, but
yeah,
but here we are, roses.
huele a caca, man. Huele a caca.
What's your secret?
And maybe people have learned about this thing called a bidet. What do you mean there's no more TP left? Did that guys happen to you just a couple weeks ago as well? When there was gonna be that possible shutdown in California, everyone went out. And what's the first thing they do again? They go and buy this damn toilet paper. I'm like, didn't you guys learn the first time around? You don't really need a toilet paper that badly.
Yeah, you're gonna be okay.
No, it's because what happens. Some people it scares the shit out of them.
Yeah. Who thought this episode we're gonna talk about toilet paper?
Yeah, well, some people did say it was a shitty year, so I can see why they need a little more.
2020, a shitty year.
That's where all the toilet paper went.
Thank you, 2020. I do want to say.
Well, the zeros in 2020 they do look like little holes, for TP.
TP, huh? That's right. 2 of each.
Yeah.
The last part I want to say for me is so now I'm taking care of my little kids and my mom and dad, so to speak. So my parents they've been with me for a while already, and that's been very interesting. It was a little bit of a rocky start with my mom because it's always been difficult for her because she's so independent. But now, I think it's been really great. She sees the value and the beauty of grandchildren being with her. She has her daily routine where she wakes up in the morning and she'll go for a walk, and she knows the whole neighborhood already, probably better than I do. So
nice.
I know, totally. She come back with aguacates or toronjas or oranges or limes.
Hey, but I thought are there like
no, she se los roba, dude.
Oh.
She takes like the neighbors' yards, like the trees are hanging in the common area.
I thought she had met all the neighbors and here, take some.
Yeah.
Like that.
You could take the mom out of East LA, but you can't take the East LA out of moms.
That's where like she found the raza like around.
Yeah, no, the first I know, no, that quite. Yeah, there was actually some raza down a few blocks down the way where they had a yard sale. They were selling the aguacates, so she bought some. So that's where the aguacates come. But every now and then she'll bring some citrus. Oh, I went over here down the street and the branches were hanging over the fence. So, I helped myself. I go, oh, Mom, they're going to get you. So it's funny. So we have
cámaras.
I know. So we have fresh lemonade,
Nice.
And then today she brought oranges. So my daughter was eating oranges earlier. And I was like, where did these oranges come from? Like,
man, you're going to hear a knock on the door.
I know. It's like the fruit police are going to come. It's like, hey, we have a citrus lady over here trying to steal our citrus. But I want to say that it's been very interesting because it's, knock on wood, it's been smoother than I thought. I don't want to say hiccup, the only part that that's difficult or challenging is looking at my dad. He's been in the hospital for a while already. He's not doing too well, and that's hard. It's just his old age, and he's an old man essentially. And my mom's a little more vibrant, and she's able to hold herself and walk around and do her thing, and it's good to see my mom and dad together because she's helping him out, But it's been very interesting because I see my mom and dad's dynamic like play out day to day, and they still bicker at each other, and they've been married for shit, I don't know, 40 odd years, maybe 50 now or something. I forget what it is.
I'm pretty sure 50
Yeah,
something.
right, 50 and change. Yeah,
Hmm.
but it cracks me up a little bit. I'm like, okay, and I look at this as again, this word opportunity I want to use. I look at this as an opportunity for me to help provide a roof over their head and take care of whatever finances they need taken care of. Because who knows how long we're gonna have them, right? Especially like again, not to put a buzz or be a buzzkill, but my dad is not doing too great, so we're hoping that he can be with us as long as he can be with us. I know my mom is looking at her being here as something very positive and valuable for her and for my dad. So for that, that's a really big plus. They're here, and it's been really good for them.
2020, it's been a challenging years, like we said, and but this happens every so many years, like it happened in like in the early 2000s during the dot-com market crash. I remember business was going real well for me and everything. Then all of a sudden, boom, the company I was working for lost their finance, and just like that, it just went from one day just show up to work, well, we don't even have money to pay you, so you take your computer as a payment. It was just like like crazy, and then in 2008, the housing market crashed, and right there, that was real hard for me too. I mean, I had all these contracts, and when I had the contracts like with the state of California, I go, that's it, I'm set. And they were the first ones to start paying me with IOUs. They're, oh, I know you did this money, but we don't have money, so here's an IOU. I'm like, oh shoot.
Yeah.
That was really tough in 2008. Right now, 2020. I mean, right now we're in the midst of it. It's like so for some people, you kind of start losing hope. You're like, man. And I know sometimes you think, okay, that's it. 2020 is really bad, and then something worse, and it's just but just keep your chin up.
That's good. Keep your chin up.
Yeah, there is a light at the end of the tunnel. And just what, concentrate. To every problem, there's a solution. Focus on the solution. Just concentrate more on the solution. And I mean, I know sometimes you need to expand issues, but always work on kind of summarizing it, or like instead of like concentrating on so many problems, it's like, how can we solve it? That like people start blaming, oh, well, why did this problem cause? Oh, because of this, because you know what, it doesn't matter how the problem caused. Let's just work on solving it right now. We could go and do the blame game after, but right now let's just solve the issues that are at hand, and let's just get back to harmony.
Yeah, that's really good, Javi.
Yeah, similar to what you all are saying. 2020 has been a wild ride. And it's I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. It's been really jacked up for a whole lot of people, man. And um, it's interesting how we're ending it right now. Everything's cyclical. Whether it's the economy, every 10, 20 years, um, whether it's job cycles, cycles in life. In your 20s, you do certain things, 30s, you do certain things, 40s, you do things differently. Family life, that's a different cycle right there. I mean, my son turned 18 today. And that's pretty
Oh, wow.
wild, man. 18 years old.
Wow.
It's he's
He's an adult.
a legal adult. And the and I told Marisa, yeah, and I'm gonna, first thing I'm gonna have him do is register. She's like, oh, you're gonna have him register to vote? No, he has to register
Selective service.
for the selective service because he's a male. He's a guy, and you have to do that by law. And yeah, then then I'm gonna make sure he registers to vote. And he can decide who he's gonna vote. What party or he's going to affiliate with, it's totally up to him. But as long as he understands that process, and this is a cycle, another cycle in life. I'm glad that this son was able to make it to 18 years old, and because there's other people who didn't, and so I'm, just count my blessings, and remind myself that I'm fortunate, even though personally I've had a lot of losses this year. There's still a lot of friends, that I still have in my circles. I still have a job, and even though that was iffy, midway through the year, but everything turned out okay. And we have a roof over our head. We have food in the fridge. We have supplies, of all types, for the zombie apocalypse in the garage and other places on the property, because, we were prepared to a certain extent, and in other aspects, we weren't really prepared, so that's what I'm saying, 2020 was a kick in the butt. Hey, reset, control, alt, delete, and take care of things that need to be taken care of, 2020, that little virus, just reminding us, hey, get your act together. If you don't have it together, get it together. Because 2020, 2021 is gonna be here whether you're prepared or not. So, that's the reality check for 2020, and I think the three of us here, Compas, I think we're coming out okay, a little scathed, but okay, and I think even better than okay in all reality, and it's still, like I said, for me, it's the year of sage. I've been burning way too much sage this year, but that's part of the cycles as well. One of the best things that came out of 2020 for me is Los Compas Lounge.
That's right.
And we've been getting really good, feedback from you folks out there, and we started really good dialogues, and this is what 2020 is about, is, acknowledging what's going on and starting something, a great philosopher once told me, Ruben, don't say it, do it.
Is that Yoda?
And that's what Los Compas Lounge is. We're saying it and we're doing it. So we look forward to hearing from you, Compas, out there.
Yeah. This is a great way to wrap up our first season of Los Compas Lounge, a PSA for brown men. We're doing it because of you, Compas. We're doing this because of our passion, because of our love for our community, and because we actually care and we listen. So please understand that this is our passion, and we couldn't do it without you and your support. So I want to say thank you, Compas, for listening, for supporting us. And I know we probably bug you all on social media with our little, promos and whatnot, but I'm hoping that you get some value out of our episodes and the wisdom that we're actually doing it because of you. So thank you for listening.
I want to thank all the listeners also for this first season. And you know what? The feedback that we've been getting is like way beyond what I was expecting, I mean, I don't know how this was going to go. We just, just started it up, and the feedback that I've got, even like from people that tell me live, in person, it's been good. So I want to thank all the listeners, and thank you for your support. And we're just gonna keep doing it till it stops being fun.
2020 was the year of Los Compas Lounge. It's the year that we began this, and it was a dream, and it was passion. It was three compas getting together and wanting to talk and wanting to open up the discussion, to other brown men out there, you know, to other Chicano Latino men out there, and women as well, you know, and we're doing this because it is our passion. We're doing this because we're learning from these experiences. We're learning from your experiences out there, compas, you know, and we look forward to giving you some more entertainment, some more podcasts, and
More laughs.
Babosadas,
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, that's pendejadas. You know.
mamadas.
Yo, we have to make things weird.
I know. All of a sudden, walking a straight line.
Man, you changed.
So we look forward to hearing from you, and we look forward to having more podcasts out for you in 2021. So until then, we'll see you next year, and
2021.
New Year.
Here we
Yeah.
come, 2021.
Have a happy New Year.
If you like what you heard, go ahead and subscribe to our podcast and give us a 5-star review. It really means a lot, and it would really help out this podcast.
We invite you to visit us at loscompaslounge.com to share your ideas and suggest topics for future episodes.
Until next time, compas, be proud and be brown.
That's right. Be safe.
Till next time.